We're about to dive into one of the most audacious heists of the 21st century. But, forget what you see in the movies. No masked gunmen, no explosives. This was a completely digital raid, pulled off with just a few keystrokes. And the craziest part? It all kicked off with the most mundane office problem you can possibly imagine.
So let's set the scene. It's a Thursday afternoon inside a super high security room way up on the 10th floor of Bangladesh's central bank. And the printer, now this isn't just any printer, mind you. It's the one that automatically records every single major transaction. It just stops. An error message pops up. But hey, the machine's been acting up for a month, right? So the staff just kind of shrug it off. A problem for another day. They had absolutely no idea they were looking at a carefully constructed smokescreen.
Because while that printer was sitting there completely silent, a group of invisible thieves were trying to pull off something unthinkable. A digital bank run for nearly $1 billion. To be exact, $951 million, right out of the sovereign accounts of an entire nation. And that's really the central mystery here, isn't it? How does a broken-down printer become the very first clue to a billion-dollar cyber attack? Well, to figure that out, we've got to rewind a bit, because this was no spontaneous crime. This was a meticulously planned operation, years in the making.
The thieves who masterminded this whole thing were playing the long game. The seeds for this attack were planted almost a full year before anyone in Bangladesh even had a clue their systems had been breached. Let's just walk through the setup. The groundwork started 9 months before the heist. Back in May 2015, 4 decoy bank accounts are opened up in the Philippines with just $500 each. Then they go completely silent. Fast forward to January 2016, that's when a phishing email lands in the inboxes of bank employees. By the time the attack actually kicks off in February, the hackers have already been inside the network for a month, just silently observing every procedure, every keystroke.
And this just shows you the brilliant simplicity of how they got in. It was an email from a supposed job applicant named Rassel Alarm. Looked totally benign, but that attached resume? It was a Trojan horse, just loaded with malware. And it only took 3 employees downloading that file for the digital doors of the bank to swing wide open. That malware just spread like a virus through their systems, giving the hackers the keys to the entire kingdom.
So now, with full access and basically a front row seat to the bank's operations, the hackers were ready to make their move. And they weren't targeting individual accounts or anything like that. They went straight for the main artery of global finance, the SWIFT system.
Now, it's really important to understand what SWIFT is. It's not a bank, it doesn't hold any money. The best way to think about it is like a super secure WhatsApp just for banks. It's how they send verified instructions to move trillions, with a T, of dollars around the globe every single day. And the system itself is considered virtually unbreakable.
And this is the crucial part. The hackers didn't break the SWIFT system. They didn't have to. After a month of just watching, they simply stole Bangladesh Bank's legitimate login credentials. It's like they walked right through the digital front door using stolen keys. Once they were inside, they just fired off 35 transfer requests to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, trying to siphon all that money from Bangladesh's reserve accounts into their own pockets in the Philippines and Sri Lanka.
By the time anyone in Bangladesh had any idea what was going on, the money was already gone. The discovery was just pure chaos. And yep, it all started with that broken printer.
And here's the brilliant little twist. The printer wasn't broken by accident. Oh no. The hackers deliberately disabled it with their malware. And the reason is pretty ingenious. That printer was designed to create an instant paper trail of every single outgoing SWIFT transfer. By shutting it down, the hackers blinded the bank staff, buying themselves precious, untraceable time.
Okay, this right here, this shows the absolute genius of their timing. The hackers hit send late on a Thursday in Bangladesh. Now remember, Friday is the start of their weekend. But over in New York, it's still Thursday, so the Fed starts processing the transfers. By the time the staff in Bangladesh finally return to work on Sunday and realize what's happened, New York is totally shut down for its weekend. And the final masterstroke? When they desperately try to stop the funds in the Philippines, the entire country is on holiday for Chinese New Year. It was a perfectly choreographed 4-day communication blackout.
You can just feel the panic setting in. I mean, they could see nearly $1 billion just vanishing before their eyes, but the very banks they needed to warn were completely unreachable. They were in a race against time, but the clock was rigged against them from the very start.
So with a near-perfect plan and absolutely flawless timing, how did the hackers not get away with the full $1 billion? The answer, incredibly, comes down to pure dumb luck and a single typo.
First off, a $20 million transfer to a shell company in Sri Lanka got halted simply because the hackers misspelled foundation as fandation. Can you believe it? One typo was enough to raise a red flag. But then came an even bigger stroke of luck. Another $850 million was automatically blocked because the recipient bank was on Jupiter Street in the Philippines. Turns out, the word Jupiter was on a US sanctions list because of an unrelated Iranian oil tanker. The computer couldn't tell the difference. A cosmic coincidence just stopped the heist of the century.
But luck wasn't entirely on the bank's side. After all the blocked transactions and all the near misses, 5 transfers still made it through. A grand total of $81 million successfully slipped right through the net.
So that $81 million landed in those 4 dormant accounts in the Philippines just as the country was shutting down for the Chinese New Year. From there, it was a race to launder it. The funds were quickly moved to a currency exchange, then funneled into local casinos, mixed in with gambling chips, and finally cashed out as cold, hard, untraceable money.
So the money was gone, laundered into oblivion. The question then became, who were these digital ghosts? The FBI's investigation quickly started to uncover a trail of digital fingerprints. And the digital fingerprints they found were damning. The IP addresses used in the attack, they trace back to North Korea. The malware's code, it was basically a digital twin to the virus used in the infamous 2014 hack of Sony Pictures. Investigators even found snippets of the Korean language buried deep in the code. All signs pointed to one notorious suspect, the Lazarus Group, a really sophisticated hacking unit that's believed to be an arm of the North Korean state.
But the investigation hit a really bizarre and frustrating wall. According to reports, instead of calling in the FBI immediately, officials at the Bangladesh bank allegedly hired a private firm to clean up the digital crime scene. Crucial evidence was reportedly erased before investigators could even get started. It's a move that has fueled years of speculation and made an already complex case nearly impossible to definitively solve. Which brings us to the devastating bottom line here. Despite all the lucky breaks that prevented a billion-dollar catastrophe, $81 million was successfully stolen. And to this day, even with the culprits identified, not a single cent of it has ever been recovered. It just leaves us with a final, pretty sobering question. This heist proved that the biggest threats to our financial world, well, they no longer carry guns. They carry laptops. In a world where billions can be moved with a single keystroke, what does the bank robber of the future truly look like?